This is John L. Sullivan. I want to talk about Chapter 2, and that is Interactive Whiteboards. I'm here live from, if you see the sign behind me, it's Mom's Diner. I'm here late at night only because my son's sleeping and can't play video games right now. So, interactive whiteboards is something that has been a part of UDL for a long time, and that was a big thing that people talked about as a part of Universal Design for Learning, that schools should have interactive whiteboards. And there's a lot of reasons why schools should have interactive whiteboards. And that was a big trend. So some of the things I want to go over are things that will enhance that experience if you're using an interactive whiteboard. And the first thing I picked was going to some websites that are interactive whiteboards. Now every interactive whiteboard comes with features where you can annotate. You know, you click on something either with a pen or your finger if you have a smartboard. You click on an icon and then you go somewhere on the web. But when you first learn it, it's going to be a little bit awkward. You've got to really practice. So having a couple options of different whiteboards you could use, where you could put on a web page, and the interface would be a little bit different, maybe be a little simpler, might make the process a little bit easier. If it gets you to feel more comfortable with the whiteboard, it gets you to use it more often, it's a good idea. And the websites generally are free. I list 3 that are free that you can use. And you go to those websites and you put it on your interactive whiteboard, and you would click on the features on that website the same way you click on the interactive whiteboard and use the features that come with it. I'd just be a little bit different. I'll give you another opportunity. The next one I wanted to list was interactive whiteboards for the iPad. Now, you can project an iPad onto a screen, and I honestly believe that projecting with a whiteboard is like a really great thing to do, and everybody should be doing, because you can project the apps on the board, and there's so many interactive features that you can do with a class. Now, one of them you can do obviously is a whiteboard. Well, if you project a whiteboard from an iPad onto your whiteboard, your interactive whiteboard, it seems like it's redundant. But one of the things you can do with an iPad is that you can walk around the room and you can control the iPad, where if you go to a board, you have to turn your back to all your students. And if you have good students and you have good structure and they know the routine and the rules and they're following, you might be okay. However, it's a huge advantage having the tablet in your hand, and you can walk to the back of the classroom and you can see them and they can't see you, and you can control the whiteboard. That's a huge advantage with structure. And some classes, you don't need something like that. In other classes, well, that little bit of change in structure over a period of time might eventually allow one student to get the idea that they could create distraction or talk or do something else. So that's an advantage you have with structure, and it's also very easy to manipulate if you have in your hand and you operate the interactive app on the iPad. Now, there's 2 apps that I generally tend to recommend. The first one is Educreations. And when I used to go to like conferences and they would talk with this app, I didn't understand why people liked it, because it's a very basic interactive whiteboard app for an iPad. Except there's one thing: the website is really what makes a difference. You have all these teachers who essentially like flip their classroom or create a interactive video with the app, and they post it on the website. And when I saw some of these videos, I was impressed, because it's another way to teach a class. You could flip the class with it. You could have the students record and explain something to you, do a project using it as well. There's a couple ways you could use it, but the fact that a teacher could use it, flip the classroom, and it immediately went up on the web, and it was pretty seamless. You used it and went right up on the web, and then you link, and you could use that link to say flip your classroom or something else. Was really, really nice. The second one is Explain Everything. Explain Everything has more features, and Explain Everything has more features than Educreations, and in essence, a lot of ways you can say, well, it's a better app. Well, it's more complicated, and the issue with Explain Everything is it puts a video and it puts it on the iPad, which might be fine, or maybe you project that video from the iPad using AirPlay onto your interactive whiteboard, and that might be fine. With students using it, you might have them use all different features of Explain Everything and have them create a lesson. But then you have the video, and you have on the tablet, you have to make choices. Do you project that on your board? Do you allow them to put it on YouTube? Is that something your district allows? Are there other issues with that? So there's a little bit of question with file transfer, which Educreations is simple, and the file transfer is simple, and the interface is simple. Explain Everything has more features, more complicated, but then a little bit more questions with the file transfer. The third one I recommend is, I hope I pronounced it, is it Ballyboard? Its name's written right there. It's a collaborative whiteboard. So you can have students actually working in a small group, collaborating on the whiteboard, or obviously you could collaborate with students on the whiteboard. You could try doing this over, I guess, maybe a little bit of distance, but just working in the same classroom, having multiple students collaborating on a whiteboard is really a cool idea that I would definitely recommend. The other thing that I recommend with interactive whiteboards is practicing. It's like very unpopular thing to say, like if as a technology integration specialist, I would sit down with teachers and work with them and show them how to use the whiteboard. It's very unpopular to say to them, gee, you need to practice doing it, because you sound like you're a lecturer and you're a teacher and they're a teacher. You're not supposed to tell your colleagues what to do and how to run the classroom. That's like a big no-no. But that's Abby, by the way. It's our cat. Interactive whiteboard, you have to practice a lot. And a lot of it's about organization and practicing. So if you're going to show a bunch of pictures to your class, you need to organize them, put them in a folder so that you click and it's relatively seamless and goes well. And you have to plan it ahead of time. And then you have to get used to using it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You don't get up from not using it all to using it for 15 minutes. It's not realistic. So you get up and use it for 5 minutes. And maybe you build up from there. Or you pick a couple of features that relate exactly to your curriculum, what you're doing, and you work on those. But it's a lot about organization and then practice. Those are the two main things. And I say that for everybody, and even for myself when I want to use it. I have to do those things as well. There's also a program that I recommend. It's called Open Sancor. It's a freeware program. It was made, I believe it was in France. It was made in Europe. And it was made for like poor countries that didn't have software where they could use this. But it's a free program. And the thing I like about it is that it organizes everything really well. So when I teach a lesson, everything's kind of like in one spot and I can find it quickly. Because what all teachers want is products that are seamless. You click on it, it works, it's there, and it does its job. Simple and seamless, and it works. That's what they want. They don't necessarily need a lot of features. They need features that work and do what they want and are seamless. And this program is like that. And I'm assuming most people, if you have an interactive whiteboard and it came with software, you already have it and you're using that software. You could go out and buy another software, but a lot of them are very expensive. And I'm assuming most people aren't going to go out and buy the expensive software. If they already have one, they're probably not going to switch. But this is another option that you get on top of the software you have, because it's a relatively simple program. It's pretty intuitive, but it helps you organize things, and it's effective, and that's why I like it. So this is John O'Sullivan, and this is Chapter 2 of my book, UDL Technology, and thank you.